Hello, my friends. So, in today's video, I want to talk to you about why we keep quitting, why we make excuses, and we keep giving up on doing the things that we know we should do. It's a hard video, but it's something that I think is important. I think it's something that all of us deal with. And so I thought that I would talk about that today. So if that sounds like something that you're interested in, stick around. And if you watch till the end, my goal is to have some practical steps to help you stop giving up on yourself. And I'm on my iPad. I'm recording on my iPad right now, and I'm not 100% sure where the camera is on here, so if it looks like I'm looking off to the side, that's why. I'm trying to look straight on, but I'm not really sure if that's the right thing or not, so sorry about that. And I do have notes on my phone that I'm going to be looking at, so if you keep seeing me looking down, that's why. So anyway, my name is Christy with Help for Your Journey, where my goal is to encourage and inspire you in your trim, healthy mama lifestyle. And I am still not home from our trip. If you watch my previous video, you know that we were supposed to go on vacation with my mother-in-law. She got in a very bad motorcycle accident, so we ended up having to rush out and be at the hospital basically for a week, and then we continued on with a little bit of the trip that we had originally planned. And so we are still gone. We have a red eye early in the morning to go home, and I am sitting in the car waiting for my husband because I've just about had it with being outside right now. Now we are in Denver, Colorado, visiting my stepson, and it is blazing hot outside, and they wanted to go on a hike, and I've just had it. I'm tired, and I'm tired of being hot. And so I said, you know what, I'm just gonna stick in the car for a few minutes. And then I thought, I had this idea for this video, why not? So what do you have to go back to? If you think about where you were before you found Trim Healthy Mama, stop and think about that for a minute. I know for me, I kind of have to go a little bit back further. I had gastric bypass done in 2017. So for me, I kind of need to go back to that point where I weighed 280 pounds. I couldn't climb more than one flight of steps without being completely winded and having to stop and rest. My back was hurting all the time. My knees were hurting all the time. I did not feel attractive one bit. I felt just miserable in my own skin. I didn't even want to look in a mirror. It was really bad. I was just like embarrassed. I was just embarrassed. And I'm a good person, and I know that that's a lot of judgment that I put on myself for my own physical appearance, when physical appearance isn't really what it's about, right? It's about who you are on the inside, who you are as a person. But let's be real. I mean, we can't see people's inside to see their heart, to see their mind, to see what kind of person they are. We look at people and we see their outside appearance. And although I don't judge other people on their outward appearance, or I really try not to, when I see somebody that's extremely overweight, my heart actually breaks for them, because I remember what that felt like. And I know that they could just act like they're happy about it all day long, and I don't think they really are. At least I wasn't. I'll just speak for myself. So when I think about, because sometimes it's frustrating, and you start to feel like this isn't fair. This isn't fair that I can't just eat whatever I want whenever I want it. It's not fair that I have to separate my fuels. It's not fair that I need to wait 2.5 to 3 hours in between times of eating. It's not fair. You can think about that all day long, and you can think about that in other ways in life too. You might say, well, it's not fair that I'm not married. It's not fair that I don't have any kids. It's not fair that I have a bunch of kids. It's not fair that I'm at home with my kids. It's not fair that I have to work full time when I want to be home. I mean, right? Like there's always things that are not gonna be fair. But if you think about what you truly have to go back to, if you just say, this is too hard and I'm throwing in the towel, what do you have to go back to? No energy, gaining weight back that you've lost. Maybe you've made some strides in your health, and that's going to go backwards if you're just eating all the things. Maybe having brain fog, being crabby all the time, not feeling confident, not feeling sexy, with your husband. I know that was a huge one for me. What do you have to go back to? There's nothing for you there, and you know that. There's nothing for you there. So why do we throw the towel in? Why do we give up on ourselves? Why are we always looking to go back? Like, I really think about that. I really wonder, because I never lost, before my bypass, I never lost a lot of weight at once. I would say 30 pounds was the most I had ever lost before in one try, I guess, if you want to word it that way. But even with 30 pounds, why would I want to go back? Why would I want to go back? All of my hard work, all of my effort. Why would I want to go back? Because I give up on myself, because things don't happen quick enough for me. So I give up on myself. But you know what, you guys? There's nothing to go back to. There's only going forward. And so I have a couple practical steps or maybe practical ways of thinking that I want to talk to you about, and hopefully it will help you. And the first one is that I think a big problem that we have is that we think, okay, once I lose weight, then I'm going to be able to go back to eating how I ate before. And that is not true. I mean, however you eat to lose weight is pretty much how you're going to have to continue to eat if you want to keep that weight off. So that's why people who do the crazy, Atkins and, stuff like that, it's not sustainable. And even for me, when I tried to do the vegan thing and I was eating no oil, no sugar, no salt, no flour, it wasn't sustainable. And yes, I could probably lose weight eating that way, but if I'm not prepared to continue to eat that way, then I'm going to gain the weight back, and that's the last thing I want. So if you are looking at, okay, I'm going to lose weight and then I'm going to go back to how I was eating before, why do we look at toxic, fattening, unhealthy foods as a reward? We should be looking at those foods literally as a punishment. Not I just wish that I could eat, chocolate chip cookies, let's say. When we should be looking at eating chocolate chip cookies as a punishment because it's not healthy for our bodies. It's not getting us where we want to go on our health journey. But instead, we long for these foods. We want these foods. We crave these foods instead of no, that food is crap. That food is dead. It's not giving me any life. It's taking life from me. So I think if we can do that shift where we stop looking at those things as a reward or like a goal to try to get to, but we look at them as literally a punishment. If I'm choosing to eat these foods, I'm punishing myself. I'm actually moving backwards. So I think that that is a pretty big like mental shift. And another one that kind of hooks up to that, for me, is a huge struggle, has to do with exercise. I do not enjoy exercising. I never have. I know that it's something that I need to do, especially as I get older, just to be strong, to be healthy, to be vibrant as I go into my later years. I know that it's something that I need to do, but I look at it as a punishment instead of as life-giving and healthy and something that I should be craving and wanting to do. I look at it the opposite way. So I think if you can get to the point where you can do that mental shift to where we look at the correct things as rewards and correct things as punishments, and we don't twist the two around. The other practical thing that I wanted to talk about is to find out your why. And a couple of ways that you can do this. If you can like picture yourself on your deathbed and look backward from there at what you would like to be able to have seen that you did in your life, that can clarify some things. You know, like why do you want to be healthy? Why do you want to be fit? Why do you know, like, if it is your kids, your grandkids, you know, whatever. Or the other way that you can flip that is to think about your big why not. My dad is 73 and he cannot walk. He is in a wheelchair. He cannot take care of any of his own hygiene needs. He lives in a nursing home and he is like a hot mess. And with a lot of hard work, he may be able to turn things around a little bit, but he'll never be to the point where he can be completely independent, I don't think. And it's very sad for me to watch that. And I can look at him and I can say, I do not want that to be my future. And so because I don't want that to be my future, I can choose foods now, I can choose movement now that is going to prevent that from being my future. So, and I know a lot of times it seems like, okay, this is no big deal. I'm just going to choose to not exercise today. Or I'm just going to eat this one meal that is not good for me. And I'm not trying to say that we need to be like psycho about it, but does one day of not exercising turn into 2 days that turns into a week and a month and a year? Does one meal send you on a downward spiral and then, 6 months later you're still not back on track? So I think we need to think about these things. I know for me, a habit tracker can be a good visual way, and it kind of gives me like this little bit of extra push on days that I maybe don't feel like staying on plan. So like you've got on the one side of the paper, you would have your goals, and then there would be numbers for the month, like 1 through 31 on the top, and then there'd be a square. So on day 1, you go down and you've got all your list of things and you color them off, and you just get to the point where you see all these colors as the month goes on, and you don't want to see that empty white square where you missed out on something. So if that's the kind of thing that speaks to you, then you might want to get something like that, or it's not hard to just make it up on a piece of paper. If that doesn't work for you, you know yourself, you know what motivates you. So come up with something that you know is going to work for you. So coming up with your why or your why not can be big things, you know, that can help you. So the last thing that I wanted to also mention is I'm going to bring up my Bible app, because when we talk about what do you have to go back to, the story of the Israelites in the Bible, you know, slavery for like 400 years to the Egyptians, God miraculously rescues them and is leading them in the wilderness to the promised land, where he has said that, you know, he's going to take care of them, and he keeps doing these miraculous things to take care of them, you know, like a pillar of cloud by day, a pillar of fire by night, water coming out of a rock, like their clothes and shoes are not wearing out. I mean, just all these miraculous things to take care of them. And then something will happen, and they start looking back to Egypt, where they were slaves. Think about that for a second. Were you a slave? Were you a slave to food? Were you a slave? You know, did you feel like you were a prisoner in your own body? Were you a slave to cravings? You know I felt like I was in a prison for sure before I lost the weight. And so I want to just read to you in Exodus 16. The people had set out and they were in the wilderness. And it says in verse 2, and the whole congregation of the people of Israel grumbled against Moses and Aaron in the wilderness. And the people of Israel said to them, would that we had died by the hand of the Lord in the land of Egypt, when we sat by the meat pots and ate bread to the full, for you have brought us out into this wilderness to kill this whole assembly with hunger. So the Israelites kept looking back, and God was providing for them every step of the way. So I just want to encourage you today to stop looking back, because there's nothing for you. There's nothing for you there. There's nothing good for you there. And start looking toward the future. Start looking at the little changes that you can make. What can you do today? Sometimes I get overwhelmed when I start to think about all these changes that I need to make in my life. But really, all we have is today. Yesterday's gone. Today hasn't happened yet. So what can I do today to be successful? What can I do today? So I just want to encourage you. What can you do today to be successful? What can you choose to eat? What can you choose not to eat? What movement can you do? You know, what can you get in your Bible today? Can you spend time with God today? Can you clean a little bit of a room that feels overwhelming to you and just do a little bit every day? There's a lot, guys, that we can do. We're not helpless. God is with us and He will help us. But I don't want to look back to the slavery that I had before and wish that I was back there, because there's nothing for me there. So that's what I have for today, guys. And if you found value in this video, I would just ask that you would give it a like. And if you like content like this, that you would consider subscribing to my channel. I really do want to encourage you guys in your Trim Healthy Mama lifestyle, in sticking with it and not giving up. When I get home, my plan is to do lots of cooking videos. I have so many ideas of things that I would like to do. And please share this content if you know someone that could use encouragement just in a healthy lifestyle and sticking with it. And yeah, I really appreciate you watching today, and I hope to see you in the next video. Bye for now.